What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. Okay, what exactly are we going to be talking about in this today's video? Okay, I'm primarily going to be talking about if things are getting destroyed in your life, if it feels like everything around you is just burning away. You almost feel like you're in some sort of a crisis. I'm really going to be breaking down and giving you the higher awareness of what it means to go through destructive circumstances, to go through dark times. We could even go as far as saying the dark night of the soul. Okay? Because truthfully, everyone goes through these experiences at different points in their life, and there are even different intensities to certain types of people and their own personal experience. So if you're listening to this now, you most likely have been through a circumstance in your life where you felt like everything was burning away. You felt like you were losing touch of reality itself. And quite honestly, you might be in that phase right now, right in this present moment. Okay? So I'm going to once again be giving that clarity and that higher level awareness so you can actually understand what's taking place if this is you in this moment, or if you've been through a circumstance like this in your life previously, so that you can better heal your past and also give you some tools to prepare for when these times manifest in your near and long-term future, because they are inevitable to manifest. Okay? So without further ado, if this is something that you want to learn a little bit more about, then you have one thing to do, and that is simply to stay tuned. Okay, so let's go into it. So, once again, to draw a little bit of a context, everybody in their life goes through experiences that are extremely destructive in nature. What do I mean by that? You go through experiences that literally test you as the person that you are. It tests you to such a degree that you almost feel like giving up. You almost literally feel like just saying, you know what, I'm throwing in the towel. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too much stress. Now, as I said, literally every single person goes through these experiences, no matter who you are. But for some people, these experiences can be a little bit more intense. It just depends on the person and depends what they are ready for and are capable of handling. But once again, to keep it general, everyone goes through these experiences, but not everyone knows how to navigate these circumstances. And a lot of people end up becoming stagnant and get trapped, spiritually speaking, because of their lack of awareness on how to navigate these circumstances. Truthfully, at the end of the day, they just don't understand what the bigger meaning is behind why there may be destructive circumstances happening in their life. Okay? So that is once again exactly what I'm here right now going to be discussing in very much depth, and I can guarantee you, just based on the title of this video, based on the energy of this video itself, there are going to be certain people that are drawn to this content that are literally in this phase right now in their life as you're listening to this. Things are just burning around you. You feel like you don't know where to go. You don't know what's happening. You're close to giving up. Okay? Once again, just so you can know, you're not the only person who has been through these feelings. You're not the only person who's been through these experiences. I've been through this experience in my life many times over. I've been through this experience in my life where I felt like giving up so many times that I started to realize there's always another end of the spectrum where there is the lowest lows just around the corner, just on the other side, there are the highest highs. Okay? So patience is ultimately key. And once again, being someone myself who's been through many of these circumstances, I've always remained patient, thankfully, and I've been able to experience the other side of the equation. I've been able to see that from darkness, there really is what we would call light. The phoenix rising from the ashes. That's literally where these metaphors come from. Okay? So with that knowledge, we want to draw a little bit of awareness to the archetype on the Kabbalistic tree known as the tower. Okay, the tower archetype. Some of you may know about this, some of you might not. But the tower archetype is generally associated with doom, gloom, challenge, adversary, breaking down, losing something, defeat, even death sometimes. Now, this is generally speaking. A lot of people give the tower archetype these associations, but when you ask a more skilled psychic, when you ask a more skilled mystic, occultist, magician, you name it, they're going to give you a completely different perspective on what the tower archetype represents. So I'll start to break this down a little bit. The tower archetype is a tower within the tarot card deck, one of the major arcana, that is traditionally burning down. Usually there's like a lightning strike that's striking the tower, and then the tower is showing some form of destruction. And the essence of this imagery is showing its destructive nature. But at the same time, behind that destruction, there is a purpose, which means that there's a purpose as to why the destruction is taking place, ultimately preparing for something new, preparing for a new creation. So truly, in order to build something new, what is old needs to be broken down. It needs to be deconstructed. Okay, so the tower archetype is significant of the essence that certain things need to be deconstructed for other things to be reconstructed. Okay? And when it comes to the tower archetype in its nature, it's ruled by the planetary energy of Mars, which always is associated with warfare, arguments, anger, destruction, fire, intensity. But then on the other polarity of Mars, following all these darker influences, you have energy, you have vitality, you can even have restoration, because from increased energy there is restoration, there is health. And these are also associated with Mars. So Mars has a very strong two polarities to it, just like all planets do. But once again, when speaking about Mars, most people like to only refer to the negative associations, but from those negative associations, there are many important positives, as I just discussed. So when someone's going through the archetypal influence of the tower, this is a phase in your life when you are feeling like things are getting ripped away from you. This is a point in your life where you feel out of control of the scenarios that are happening around you. It's like one thing happens after another. Destruction, 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 destruction. Up until the point where you start to really realize you have no control over the situation. The only control you have is the control over yourself and the way that you respond to the situation. So when someone's going through the archetype of the tower and you're in a circumstance in your life where there's so much destruction around you, you truly only have one thing that you can do. And that one thing is to be aware that, first, this is happening for a reason. If it's happening by divine law. And because of that, I can only be receptive to what is being destroyed. I can only observe what is being removed. And I can start to integrate the fact that those things are no longer needed in my life experience. And in that process of observing and being receptive and letting go, this is how the tower archetype, this is how destruction in your life really does clear all the areas of your own being and the world around you, clears them out to then prepare for something new to usher in. It prepares for literally a new chapter in your own life. And through that experience of being in that tower archetype, you have no choice but to literally surrender to your own higher self. You're having to let go of your sense of self-importance as well as your sense of self-identity, because remember, you can't control the environment around you when there are things inside of you that are not serving your evolutionary progression. Because through that principle of as within, as without, your inner being is reflecting your external environments. If there are misalignments inside of your being and you're evolving as a spirit and soul, that is inherently going to destroy the external environment around you that was connected to the artificial inner self. Okay? So with that being said, when you go through the tower archetype, which everyone goes through in their life experience, it is always happening for a reason, and it does not inherently mean doom, gloom, and bad things, but rather what it means is it means uncomfortable transformation because of the necessity to realize you need to surrender the need and the want for control, and you need to be receptive to and observe the process itself. You need to observe how the fire burns away the areas of yourself and the world around you that are not serving you. And you need to allow that to burn away. As tough as it can be, you need to allow it to take place. I mean, the best example that I can honestly give you is if you can imagine somebody who has worked very hard in their life to acquire wealth. And in the process of acquiring wealth, let's say this person was cutting corners. Let's say this person was cheating and they were stealing. And they weren't in a place of loyalty, honor, and integrity. And they found ways to create quick cash, large portions of cash. And they also spent a lot of time living that type of life. Now you can imagine this person accumulates a large portion of wealth. You can imagine that because that wealth wasn't necessarily accumulated under source principles or under self-evolutionary development principles, rather they were cutting corners, they were cheating, they were stealing, and they were lying. You could imagine if that person had their wealth in front of them, you could just see like a pile of money in front of the person, and then all that money was lit on fire. And the person that thought that all they wanted was wealth and money, having to watch all of their wealth and their money burn away, you can imagine how painful that would be. But at the same time, you can also imagine that that wealth was not even acquired properly. The person didn't develop the skills that they need as a soul and as a spirit to properly evolve by attaining that wealth. Therefore, that wealth actually is not necessary in their life yet. They would be better off going broke and refiguring out the process of how to interact with other humans and how to be fair and how to give and take energy harmoniously. That would be the more effective route for them to take. So you can imagine the same influence takes place with the archetype of the tower, where things around you that were artificial in nature and that truly were not serving you and not a part of your true soul's purpose, those are the exact things that start to get burned away. And the more you can actually understand that this is an important thing and that this is a natural process of the universe itself, the more you can accept the letting go of what you don't need. So when you go through these experiences in life where you feel overwhelmed, where you feel like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing is happening, and you really just feel like you're losing in life, you feel like there's no way out, the truth is that it's that exact pressure and it's that exact destruction and intensity that is causing you to become more aware of the real, authentic inner parts of your soul and of your spirit. Because externally speaking, and we could even say materialistically speaking, you may be losing. You may be in a bad position. But at the end of the day, once again, it is the internal being that will eventually manifest the external environment around you. So when you're in a phase where you're in a rough situation in your life, truthfully, you're in a great opportunity, you're in a great opportunistic time frame to really understand who you are and why you're actually here outside of those things that you were attached to. Okay? There is a deep lesson that is trying to teach you how to connect with your true self, with your higher self, with the portions of your being that will literally tell you to surrender to the destruction and let those things burn away. As much as you think you may need them and you may want them, you'll be shocked to find out that as you surrender, you don't actually need them. And you'll see that the universe itself gives you another doorway of opportunity for something new, and it will provide for you. But these are only things you can learn when you're actually accepting the destruction process. When you're actually realizing, when you're in a phase in your life where there's major amounts of crisis and just huge amounts of stress that you're under, it's all happening for a reason, and it's trying to show you something. It truly is trying to teach you something. And I wish somebody had made a video that really discussed this topic the way that I am right now, back when I was going through these very traumatic experiences in my past. And I'm not saying this just because I feel like saying this and just because this is some motivational message I'm trying to get across. This is the real deal. This is truly how the universe functions. Okay? And just to paint another picture, when we look at the Tower archetype on the tarot deck, it connects between a sphere known as Severity, which is the sphere of Mercury, called Hod, and then the other sphere it connects into is the sphere of Netzach, which is ruled by Venus and represents victory. So we can see the influence between that Tower experience, the destruction leading to a restruction, a reconstruction, is in between the mind of Mercury and the love and harmony of Venus. It's in between splendor from the negative pillar over to victory within the positive pillar, showing the straight influence that when you're in rough circumstances where it feels like everything is getting ripped apart from you, there is a victory that is going to come out of it. But what you need to do is you need to stay on the track. You need to stay in the process. You cannot tap out. You cannot surrender to bad relationships. You can't surrender to substance abuse. You can't surrender by trying to cope with other means. I don't know what those means might be, but you know, as I'm mentioning it, you have your own vices. You can't surrender and lose to distraction. You have to stay the course. You have to be patient. You have to feel the pain, and you have to feel the stress. You have to literally feel it. That's all you have to do, because feeling it will process it, and you'll become a better observer. And clearly being the observer in this experience is what is key. And as you do those things and you stay the course, you will literally see how a gift from the universe itself comes out of the circumstance and will then put you in a situation where you can look back and you can remember that really rough, tough time that you're going through, and then you'll have your own story to tell about it, and you'll always have that story within yourself that will serve you for the rest of your evolutionary journey, therefore making other life experiences much more easy to go through. I've been through so many rough, challenging, traumatic circumstances in my life over and over and over again, And as I remained patient, trust me, I didn't always get it right. I've given in to distraction. I've given in to substance abuse. I've given in to bad relationships. But eventually, I stayed vigilant. I stayed a warrior spirit. I didn't tap out completely. And eventually, I figured out the mistakes that I was making. And then I started to make the changes that I needed to make. And then from that, I got to the other side. I reached the other pole. And I saw the positive that came out of the darkness. Okay? So it's in that circumstance where you really appreciate the challenge that you went through. Even though in the midst of being in the challenge, it's hard as fuck to appreciate. But when you get to the other side, you really gain wisdom from experience that then leads to understanding and then appreciation. Okay? And the more experiences you go through that are like that in your life, for example, like I've been through, when the next time it happens, you already know how to maneuver through it. And it becomes easier and easier and easier as time goes on. Even if your challenges, even if your own adversary becomes more challenging, like the quote they say, with a different level, there's a different devil. And clearly as you move up in level, the devil increases as well. Even though the devil can become more challenging each level you move up, it's what you're developing internally. The internal skill set, the internal tools are what stay with you forever and what accompany you as you're facing every devil in every challenging experience you go through for the rest of your life. So after going through a couple challenges, a couple traumatic circumstances, and being vigilant, being patient, and getting to the other side, you start to realize this is a pattern of the universe itself. And all you need to do is the same formula that you've done for all the other times, which is be the observer, be patient, surrender to what is burning away, let go of your identity, let go of your ego, let go of your beliefs, your mindset, and your perspectives that truly you're not fully sure if that is, what is real. I mean, like, let's be honest. Surrender all those areas of what you may think is real structured reality. And as you let go of those and you go through that form of disillusion, you go through that form of ego death, you will get to that other side. And this formula stays true for every challenging circumstance you go through in your life, even the most challenging circumstance you could imagine yourself in. Okay? And this is the key, and this is the message from this video. And I really felt like making this video because, once again, when I was in this space in my life, which I've been many times, I didn't really have anybody that was able to break it down the way that I just did now. I didn't really have anybody that understood these things and was able to communicate it clearly and smoothly and then give me the awareness of, wow, you know what? This isn't just bad luck, or this isn't just I'm in a bad situation. This is something that is really opportunistic. This is something that is divinely placed in my life, and I have the opportunity and the wonderful ability to be able to move through the experience and shed what I no longer need so that I can get through it. See, no one told me that, so for me to figure these truths out, I had to learn it the hard way, and I've made many mistakes in that sense. But I know that there are a lot of you that are listening to this now that have been through these experiences in your past, are going through it right now as we speak, and if not, they're going to come down the road. And as you really listen to this message and you really start to download it into your subconscious, unconscious mind and become conscious of the message, this will serve you immensely. And that will help you to serve yourself and further your evolution. Okay, so that's the main reason why I'm making this message. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, come down here and hit the thumbs up button right down there. Okay, also come down here and hit the notification bell because I post videos as often as I can. And with content like this, you absolutely do not want to be missing out. Okay, also come down here and hit the subscribe button because if you're not yet subscribed to my public YouTube channel, then you're making a very big mistake because you could further be linking into the content. There really is an energetic principle that goes behind that. When you subscribe, you're getting more value from what it is that I'm teaching. Okay? Now, I'm going to take your awareness to literally the most important link within the entirety of the YouTube description itself. This is the first link in the YouTube description. Go down into that description. It's the first link at the top. You can't miss it. This is where you can join my Patreon, okay? On my Patreon, I have an entire vault of exclusive occult content. None of this content is on my public YouTube channel, and that is for many intentional reasons. Okay, this content is not meant for just everybody. This is meant for people that are really taking their evolutionary practices and studies to that deeper degree. I have content that is similar to videos like this. I have content in the form of live streams with tons of valuable knowledge embedded within them. And then I have what is called practical content, which is me performing occult practices on camera while also teaching you how to do it yourself. Very fundamental in nature. Okay, all these different avenues of content are going to be more personal and more advanced than what you're getting here on my public channel. Then as you move into tier 3 and up, you're gaining access to an entire magic training course, which I feel like would be extremely valuable, especially if you're a beginner occultist and you're looking for a structured format to follow to start developing your psychic capabilities. Okay, tier 3 and up to gain access to that. Then as you move into tier 4, this is the top tier of the Patreon, but this is not only just the top tier, this is the most popular tier of the Patreon as well, and that alone speaks for itself. This is what is known as the Universe.B Vampire Service, which is a service that I've been performing for a little bit over a year now, and it is a service that is designed to completely change the energetic structure of all the participants of the service itself to be more so what I call Universe.B dominant. Okay, so essentially what that means is more so negatively polarized. What this means is that this gives these individuals an ability to exist within the dark energy areas and locations of the multiverse itself without inherently getting harmed by them, but rather developing knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and potential power from them instead. Okay, this also gives these individuals an ability to be more so receptive to their unconscious and their subconscious minds, which is feminine in nature. And it also gives them a psychic capability to pull in energy from dark energy and chaos in the environment around them to transmute into their own power and evolutionary potential. If this is something that you gravitate towards and you want to take advantage of, you can definitely do so. Once again, that is the top tier, tier number 4. First link in the YouTube description. We're going to leave that there. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, big shout out to all of you specifically who are Patreon members for taking your knowledge, your practices, and your studies to that other side. Big shout out to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now as we move into the second link below, this is the second link in the description. You can't miss it. This is where you can book your own very unique tarot card reading with me. Okay, in this tarot card reading, I can literally pinpoint exactly where you are on the Kabbalistic tree. I can tell you what you're feeling, experiencing, and going through in the present moment, and then what to expect moving into your near and your long-term future as well, literally all based on your placement on that Kabbalistic tree itself. Okay, I don't know anyone else that does tarot readings that are similar to mine. I've done well over 750 readings at this point. I do a reading almost every single day, and I've received tons of valuable feedback from everyone who's received readings from me on top of that, okay? If this is something you want to take advantage of, absolutely check it out. It is the second link in the YouTube description. Go ahead and book your reading, okay? Now also, in that same second link below, you have an option to book a one-on-one call with me. Okay, so if you literally have more, let's say, intimate or personal questions about your personal journey that you want to ask someone like myself and get answers, then definitely look into that option to book a one-on-one call with me, once again, in that second link. And then there are even options that give you mentorship. So if you're someone who's taking it really to that deeper degree, then the mentorship would be a great opportunity. And if you want to know a little bit more about how these services function, just go into that second link and you can read all the different details about the services, okay? With that being said, that's going to wrap that up. Now, last link is the third link. This is where you can become a YouTube member. As you become a YouTube member, you're gaining access to many different types of benefits, but most importantly, you're gaining access to what is known as the Psychic Warfare Emoji Program, which is a sequence of emojis that you gain access to right when you become a YouTube member that are based on real occult principles. They are designed by myself, and you can use them in a certain configuration, link in the name of a target, hit enter, and it actually causes psychic effects to the target of your choice. This is the most simple form of utilizing psychic warfare through the internet platform. There are almost 2,000 posts where individuals are using this service, and even right now in this moment, there are people that are using it. Okay, if this is something that you want to use yourself and ultimately take advantage of, you can do so. Third link in the YouTube description, click it, and then join and become a YouTube member. Okay, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly where I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the very, very near future. Peace.